Hi, everyone. Welcome to Connected. I am your host, Jennifer Hart, and I'm so happy to have you here today. If you have stumbled across here by some way, shape, or form, you have no idea. I do trust that the universe has sent you here. I'm a firm believer in signs and synchronicities, and I'm happy to have you. Tell me where you're from, how you got here. I'd really love to hear, if you're new here, how you came across to find this channel or this show, wherever you're watching from. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I love to serve you, and I'd always love to hear from you. Say hello. Let me know what it is that you're looking for. What do you want to learn about? I know a lot of people. I call myself a connector. I feel like I'm an expert in knowing an expert. That's the best way I can describe it. And the topics would be personal growth, development, spirituality, anything that's going to help you further yourself in any area of life. And with all of the things that I have been doing in service of others, I decided to create the Connected Soul Network membership. So if it sounds like you're like, what is this? I'd love to tell you a little bit more. Basically, in short, as I've shared it with so many people, I'm like, you know what it really is it's a subscription to events. So we have a lot of events happening from the membership. And basically, as a member, you're able to attend any of the events that you'd like for free, and you'll be able to catch the replays as well. Now, if you're not a member, you can still attend, but it's $15 an event. So the absolute best deal is just to become a member and join us. And if you aren't familiar, I have two different target market groups that I am assisting. So I like to use my hands because it keeps me on track. So my explorers, that's just anyone that is wanting to just attend the events and consume the content. And then I have guides. These are the people who are healers, coaches, therapists, any type of practitioner that's helping people to further provide like personal growth in their life. Could be any area of life, health, finances, all of the above. And then they also are wanting to grow themselves. They're explorers as well, and their business. And they want to show up with service, build long-term relationships, and have community accountability and support. It's been fantastic. We were having so much fun. So if it interests you at all, you can check out the membership links that will be in the caption. With that being said, I would love to tell you what we're talking about today and who we are going to be talking with. One of my favorite people that I always love to have on. We always have a good time, always lots of great information. She is a key component and team member on the leadership team in the Connected Soul Network. She's a guide, and her name is Dani C. Muniz. So today we're going to be talking specifically about how the astrological forecast of 2023 can support personal growth and goals. And I want to tell you a little bit about Dani in case you haven't met her yet. If you have, I highly recommend checking out her other interviews. They've been phenomenal. She's a spiritual designer for the Connected Soul Network as well. And I appreciate her so much. Just want to give her that shout out. Okay. Dani Muniz has appeared on national television, on American Idol, and The Voice. So cool. I love it. She has worked with organizations such as the Walt Disney Company, Wells Fargo, and Starbucks, and is a consultant for Bob Proctor and a leadership trainer for Tupperware and Mary Kay. Dani has worked with thousands of clients for almost 20 years as a leadership coach and trainer. Developing the leaders of the future in corporate and the entrepreneurial space is her passion. She brings a unique, holistic approach combining spirituality, astrology, and science to get results for her clients that no one else can. She specializes in helping soul-based female entrepreneurs go from all over the place and in their own way, take their power back. As a spiritual counselor, Dani is a leader in the field of personal leadership, breaking generational paradigms and intuitive astrology. She resides in Austin, Texas, with her soulmate and handsome Jake the Pug. He's adorable. Welcome. Hello.
Hey, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. Good to see you again.
Thank you for joining me, as always. I'm always super excited when we are doing something together. So Dani is, like I said, a key aspect in the membership. She's my right-hand woman, and she's always helping me with the back end. We have actually a lot of events to share today with people. I think you and I have 8 events set up for like Q1 in itself. And this is just for Dani. This isn't even all the other events with the other guides of the membership. So I just want to say thank you for being a part of the membership and also sharing your gifts with us and the world. Super exciting. And we have so many good events to talk about. So it's the perfect topic today to get us started that like will lead us right in there.
Yeah.
I always like to talk about how we knew each other first. So I met Danny. I was doing some back end work. When I say back end, I mean like the technical aspect and like kind of hosting for some virtual events online. And that didn't work out for me. It was a little too stressful for me. Maybe a little bit more low key. So Danny ended up taking over. And so I met her through our mutual friend, Melissa, and just instant soul connection. Like sometimes you just meet people and you instantly are like, yes, like we're going to be friends, and we just connect. And she has such an awesome personality and soul. So you got the 3D and the 5D.
Ooh, I love that. I think it's funny, Jennifer, because it's officially now, is it officially a year?
Over a year. Yeah. Over a year.
Is it over a year now? Are you sure? Because didn't we maybe, because I think we kind of met like November.
And then like
October, November.
My last event was, I think, January of last year. So, and then I think
I came in March of that.
Okay.
That
so
year.
Yeah, right after. So about a year. Yeah. I feel like I've known you so much longer.
I was just going to say, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, it's like been a year.
Yeah. Time flies. That's
crazy.
Awesome.
That is
okay.
Crazy.
So tell me, let's start first, because just in case people haven't like seen you before, how did you get into what you were doing? Like, what was your awakening or transition? And then like, how did you get into being into astrology and a spiritual designer, as you call it?
Yeah. So I've always been into astrology, let's say, but it was very, kind of very surfacey. Like I remember like my very first time when I really I've always loved the sun and the stars and the moon. Like I've always loved that idea. But I remember distinctly in high school. Okay, so I'm gonna date myself here. You might remember this, Jen. When we were in high school and we were learning about the internet. That thing, the World Wide Web. And I was in a class and he was teaching us about the internet. And so we had like assignments where we had to like go online and look things up while I had finished what I was doing. And so I went to horoscopes and I was like, is he the one for me? Like put your birthday in, put his birthday in. So I put, I did that with my boyfriend in high school and, all the things. And that was really what I knew of astrology, right? I just knew like you look up your horoscope, your sign is dependent upon your birth date. And that's like all I really kind of knew. But I always had an interest. Like every time I'd come across a horoscope or I'd hear somebody talking about the sun and the moon or the stars or planets and stuff, I'd be really interested. And then even my like decor in my bedroom and my bathroom at one point was all sun and moon. Like I had like galaxy shower curtain and I had like the stars, like the glow in the dark stars all over my wall. Like, I mean, I've always been attracted to it. I just I just had never dived into it deep. And so when I actually started dating my love, who is we've now almost been together 10 years, he's the one that asked me, he's like, what's your moon sign? And I was like, what's a moon sign? Like, I had no idea that there was a moon sign. And he was like, well, what's your birth date? Let's look it up. And I was like, okay. And so like I gave him my, my birth date, and I didn't know my exact time. And so I had to go get my birth certificate and everything. But when I looked it up, and he was like, well, I actually don't use like tropical. I use this other system. And I was like, there's another system? And like, he totally opened my world to what astrology is. And so he was barely new into astrology as well for himself. And so we both kind of started diving more into it. And then as more knowledge and more knowledge and more knowledge, well, he's a Gemini sun, Aquarius moon. And so he'll dive into something and then he's out. Like he gets what he needs and then he's out. And I'm not. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Cancer moon. So I like to stay with something a little bit longer. So I stood with it longer. And so I started like knowing my moon sign, that very first thing is what triggered me to learn more about astrology, because my moon sign showed me so much about who I was, because I'm somebody who is very sensitive. I cry all the time. I'm very in tune to other people's energy, and I didn't understand all of that. And so knowing that about myself just opened my whole world to accept my emotions, where they had always been pushed away from me for so long. And so it allowed me to really embrace that aspect of me. And it also helped me understand my love more. As an Aquarius moon, he has a very detached perspective with emotions. And so he didn't understand when I would just like cry, like, what are you crying about? Like, there's no reason to be crying about this. Like, logically, this makes no sense, Danny. And I'm like, like we watched Avatar a couple weekends ago, and I was like bawling. There's one scene and I was just bawling my eyes out. It just hurt me so much. And so like just knowing that and being able to accept myself is what really opened my world to astrology. And so, as I said, I dove in deep, and I just kept going and going. And there's so many layers to astrology that I just kept peeling back. And the more I peeled back, the more I was peeling back self. More I was understanding myself, and the more I was accepting of myself. Like, and I think that is why I now approach astrology from that standpoint. Like, it's really cool to learn, like, like we're talking about an astrology forecast, right? It's really cool to learn that stuff and to know what is happening. It is just a whole other level of understanding of self when you can actually start to understand yourself through that and really accept yourself fully and completely, and then use that energy to work with it to achieve your goals, whatever it is that you're striving for. So that's my journey into astrology.
I love it. And I too resonate with a lot of what you said. Like, as a child, and this is all probably past life related, but I was so into like all spiritual things, and the internet was new as I was in high school, and like it was AOL days.
Yes, the
dial-up AOL, where your phone dials into the internet. And so prior to that, I'd go to the library. And I remember in 8th grade, I had like a book or my report was on paganism and witchcraft, and I was always
no way
psychics and intuitives, but there was no way I could find them. And like, yeah, in like 5th or 6th grade, I read a book on astral projection, and I've always been super fascinated, which is how I knew that like once I actually had the means of like true internet and people started coming online more, that I could get more into it. And I did try to do astrology because I've always been into the horoscopes, and I have tons of books on it. And I was like, I want to be able to read all of these things, and it's just not for me. Like, I'm an expert at knowing an expert. Like, actually, like I thought I wanted to learn
that, by the way,
these things so that I could service people and myself and just know it. And it's so fun. Like, how cool is it to like go to a party and be like, let me read your birth chart. And then I really realized that astrology is truly a second language. And if it doesn't come easy for me and I'm not like super passionate about it, I'm like, I'd rather just pay someone or know someone that can help me understand it when the time is there. And that's when, I love having people in my network like Danny, because I'll call Danny and be like, hey, so what's going on right now? Like, I got some funk, or, when's a good time to move? And actually, Danny is creating kind of the guidelines of these interviews, of the events, of like at least the Call to Connect events. What's the best topic for the collective based off of the planets? And the planets are so important because they're so powerful. And as they move, they're creating energetic responses and like, I don't want to say force, but like they're controlling what is happening with us. And it's as a collective, but it's also as individuals, because like your chart and my chart are not the same. Like, there is pretty much no two people that could have the same exact birth chart. I mean, well, even 1 minute apart. Yeah.
They're slightly different.
They'll be just a little bit different because they're, I don't know that anybody has ever came out two at one time. So then they're the same birth. Yeah. Like, it's one at a time, right? I guess unless it's a C-section, I don't know. Anyways, But yeah, so I appreciate like how knowledgeable you are, and it's just like a second language. But I also want to highlight too that you have a lot of other skills. So like you have hypnotherapy, I know you have meditation. We're going to talk about other events. You have learned how to do the Akashic records, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. What else am I missing?
Mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy. No, I'm waiting for our friend Melissa Akunadingo. Shout out to Melissa Akunadingo. Reiki, please. Reiki. Danny's ready. Reiki. Okay, that's it.
That'll be in person in the Austin area. So if you're watching this in Austin, we have a cluster of guides in the Austin area. So I freaking love that. There'll be like some in-person events hopefully coming soon. We'll chat about that separately. But yeah, you have so many tools. And so well, first let's talk about, so we have an event today. By the way, this is previously recorded. I forgot to say that. If you're watching and you're like asking us questions, please tag us because we are not ignoring you. This is just previously recorded. I usually like to give the disclaimer because people are like, I was talking to you and you didn't even acknowledge me. And I would never want that if anybody. I want everybody to feel seen and heard. So yeah. Today we have cosmic insight. So let's start here and then we'll get more into the astrological forecast. So today, Cosmic Insights, 12 to 12:30 p.m. This is happening in the Connected Soul Network Facebook group. And how it's going to work is it's recurring every first Thursday of the month.
Yes.
And it is, so Danny's going to post the form that if you have a question to submit, then you complete this form because she has to pull your birth chart, your natal chart, as she calls it. I call the birth chart, same thing. And so that way she can look at your question and then look at your chart. And you're going to take a couple of questions because it's only half an hour. Members will have priority. So people can submit questions even if you're not a member, but if members submit, they will have the priority.
And we already have people asking questions. So
I know, I'm so excited. We already have a couple people that have submitted, and then plus we're going to post it up every month. And so we'll get more and more, but come and see how it is. It'll be streamed live into the Facebook group. Danny will just be on Zoom streaming into this Facebook group, the Connected Soul Network, which is my Facebook group, and answering these questions based off of astrology chart of the person that asked the question and their Akashic records. So real quick, can you tell what the Akashic records are in case someone hasn't heard of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Akashic Records is every word, thought, deed, action that your soul has ever had participated in since its inception. So it's the energy of infinite possibility. And I absolutely love it because it's a way to guide us, right? To give us some insight into maybe what our soul has already experienced. So there's readings that I've done where it's like we're looking at past lives, we're looking at particular things that may be even happening with the person in this moment. I had a reading the other day for somebody who was just not feeling right in their body. And so we did a reading, and it came to be a couple of different things, one past life related, and the other thing was current entities, actually possessions that she was experiencing, which is really interesting. So there's a number of things that come up during the readings. It could be something that you're challenged with right now, or something that maybe is related to something connected to the past. Before we popped on here, Jennifer was talking about something and she was like, oh, that could be like a past life thing. And it was like, totally, like, you know, there could be a connection where she's challenged in this lifetime because of previous lifetimes. It could also be something where years of strength. So this is what a lot of people don't look at past lives for. But when I was doing hypnotherapy, I used to do past life regressions. So now having the energy of the Akashic records is just super powerful, because now I actually know like what your soul was actually, like I know what your soul was actually experiencing, and I can relay that information, right? So with the with the past life is you can also bring in powers, strengths that you had from previous lifetimes. So let's say in this lifetime, maybe you're struggling with leadership, right? Maybe you're stepping into a leadership role, or you're wanting to, you know, be a leader or of some sort in your life. And it's not maybe a gift you have in this lifetime, but we can call upon it. We can bring it in. We can find a lifetime where you did experience it. where you did have that as a strength, right? Or maybe you've never had that as a strength and that's for this lifetime. So there's a lot of really good, valuable information that we can get, whether it's relationships, money, career, business. I've done pricing on people's events, or, you know, timings of people's events or types of events they should be doing if you're a business owner. So a number of things that we could look at with the Akashic.
Basically, the possibilities are endless. And also, can you just explain the entity piece very quickly? Because if someone hears that, like, that might freak them out. So
I know, sorry. I know, I almost didn't say it because I was like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have used that example. You know, nothing. I don't want to say. There's never anything to be afraid of or fearful of. I used to be very, very fearful and very scared of other things that may be within our world, right? However, when you start to work with it and understand it, it's actually not as scary. They're just, the way I view it now is they're just lost energy. This is the basic way I can say it. It's just lost energy. And the thing that was with her was nothing scary or bad, right? It was just lost, and it found her. And that's why it's really important for us to take care of ourselves, protect our mindset, protect our energy, protect, you know, be careful of the environments we're putting ourselves and the people we're around, and being really conscious of clearing our energy and taking care of our bodies. Because anything, like, you can even think of a disease as being an entity, right? It's something that isn't, it's a dis-ease in the body. So I don't want you to, like, don't, it's nothing like super scary. Like, don't think it's like the Hollywood version of entity that just takes it a little bit too far for me personally. But it's just, to me, it's like a lost energy that just is trying to find its way to where it needs to go next. So that,
or like a vibration, even, like,
okay, you could call it. Yeah,
I had some entities that were, this is how I knew. I'll just quickly give my story. So, like, I woke up and I all of a sudden felt so depressed and like lethargic, and I was like, what? I know myself well enough, and I know my energy to know that that's not my energy. And so I called in a guide from the network and was like, hey, can we like, I need help. Can you check into this for me? So we checked into, because I was like, I don't, like, I've had a lot of experience, right? And so I knew that, I was like, I don't feel like myself. Like, there's something like attached to me, right? Like, there's some type of energy looming over me that is not mine. And I did my own cleansing, but I need a little bit of extra help. So we tapped in. I had like 5 or 6 entities that had like just all come to fruition. And they were all projections, actually, from other people's thoughts about me, or negative, like, and I hate to say negative, but lower vibrating. Like, what were they?
Like success. Like, maybe they're jealous of your success or something.
I didn't want to use the word jealous, but yes, jealous would be example. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a natural human thing, and they didn't mean anything of it. But if they have that thought and they're sending it out unknowingly, this is why it's also good to like look at the thoughts that are coming through for other people, because you don't want to send other people that type of energy. More so, stop and say, why am I thinking this? Because there's always something within yourself, right? What's lacking, or what needs attention, or some love within myself. So anyways, we cleared them. And I mean, I kid you not, by the time we got off the call, like, I was a whole new person, and I got right back on, like, on fire again, on working on my membership and my business. But it was crazy. So it was just frequencies and vibrations.
Exactly. And I this is why, like, what you just said was so important, Jen, right? Because if you were aware, you know what your energy is, you know, like, yourself. And so when you woke up and you're like, whoa, something's not off, like, that's why it's so important to listen to your bodies and to understand your bodies, and to, you know, either work with somebody or learn, you know, the community. Like, a lot of the guides in the community can help you with this, like, just to understand your own energy, because like that's number one. That's important, because then when something does happen, and like you said, it doesn't have to necessarily be like this evil thing. It could just be something, a thought that somebody had that has now been projected onto you and that you're holding, right? You're holding within your space, and now it's affecting you. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it came into my energy field. And so then it like attached inside of my energy field. So it just needed to be acknowledged and released back to the ether, cleaned out and returned to cinder with love, light, and awareness, you know, so.
Yeah, I love that.
Anyways, we digress. So I just wanted to, because that is, I feel like you said, Hollywood has made it a very scary word. And so I'm like, it's really not like that. And also, thank you for bringing up the point. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, maybe I need to get to know myself a little bit more, that is what I'm creating with the membership, especially for explorers. Like explorers is who I was when I first started. And I didn't know any of these things. Like I would just be so drained. I'd be resentful. I'd be all these things. And I'm like, what is going, like, and you and your story at the beginning, you were, and we still are explorers too. We're always exploring, but that's why it's important to like explore yourself and do this work to figure out like, what is my energy? Maybe I'm just constantly surrounded by people that are bringing me down, you know? And so, yeah.
Well, I would even say this. I mean, we're coming off the holiday season, right? I mean, if you're watching this within the time frame of when this is airing, like we're at the beginning of the year, and we just came off a whole holiday season where, and we're in winter season, and winter season tends to be it can be at least a struggling time for some people. You know, whether it's the no longer bliss, quote unquote, right? Bliss that we had during the holiday season. And now there's no more parties. There's no more celebrations. Like I even heard people on social media, like the past couple of days be like, oh, there's no more parties. And it's like, there's this sadness, right? And that can be part of this winter season that we have to be careful of. So like, that's why like Jen's community is great, because if like you can't go to just other events and networking opportunities that are out there, at least for me as a business owner, and Jen knows this, I've said this a million times, is like there is no other networking event out there like hers, where you know you can talk about, you can say the word entity, you could say the word past life, you know, or you can say astrology, and people aren't like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, I'm gonna go over there. Like, you know, like here it's like, yes, tell me more. Like I had this experience, or this is going on with me, and like there's just a different vibe here. So if any of that stuff interests you, or you're like looking for more of, you know, people who like talk like that, then this is definitely the community for you. We'd love to have you, welcome you in.
Yes, we would. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we digress. So today,
sorry, we're going to digress again.
Cosmic Insights, always.
Yeah, I'm excited to do these. Like when Jen and I talked, and she was like, okay, so what are we going to do? And I was like, let's do this. This is my number one seller. So I sell this actual thing, Cosmic Insights, individually to people. People can buy this one-on-one with me. Like they can actually purchase this. This is something that I do on a regular basis. This is my number one, because people are always asking me like, hey, Danny, what's going on in the stars? Or like, there's something going on, or I'm feeling this. And I'm like, oh, well, let's look at your chart and let's tune into the Akashic Records and see what's going on. This is why I paired the two together, because astrology is great on its own. Akashic Records are great on its own. But when you bring them together, there's just a lot of magic and a lot of power. So I'm excited to bring this to you, because this is one of my favorite things to do, is to tune in, to find out, like, you have a problem, like just like Jen is like the connector of the connect, right? Like she's the person who knows people, she knows the experts. It's like, I want to like help you figure out like what is challenging you, like why, like get behind what is stopping you, what is bothering you, what is harming you, what is like whatever. Like I'm love that. I love to figure it out. And then it's like, okay, here, this is what it is. And then you have that clarity. So then you can take action, right? Maybe it's doing a healing session with one of the other guides, right? Or maybe it's just doing some journal work on your own, or some self-care practices, or whatever, right? There could be a number of things that need to be done, but it's to help you get the clarity so that you can take action. Because that is like, nobody wants to, you know, get to the end of their life and have all these regrets of all these things that they never did. I'd rather people keep moving forward. I'd rather people keep like taking the next step and learning something and exploring something and finding something out and living a life that truly has meaning for you, that where you do feel fulfilled, right? Whether it's through this spiritual life or through something else, whatever it is, like, I just want people to feel fulfilled in their life. Like, that's number one reason why I started my business was I don't know if you know this, Jen, but I started my business because I wanted, let's put it this way. I wanted somebody to be there for my mom when she was in her 20s. I feel like if my mom would have had somebody who would have helped her get some clarity in her life and really help own who she was and help her see that there was a path that she could take that was unlike anything she could even imagine, I think that her life may have been different. And so I didn't want that for myself, and I didn't want that for anybody else. And so when I made the decision to choose me and to choose my life, I was like, okay, I've learned some things, and now I don't want anybody else to have to go through that ever again. And that's the main reason why I said, I'm going to leave corporate, my lovely cushy job, and jump into entrepreneurship, because I don't want anybody to ever get to the end of their life and feel so many regrets of things that they didn't do. I want people to be happy with their lives, have fulfilled lives, have loving relationships. And that is my mission. That is my mission, to help people do that. And so if I can help you understand who you are and live in that rhythm and live that life and help you make the next decision, help you make the next choice, that is what I'm here to do. So these cosmic insights, like, they just light me up, because I can see how people just are like, oh my God, that helped me so much. I have so much clarity. I'm ready to move forward now, or I'm going to go do this, or here's my next step. That just fills my heart. That fills my heart so much.
I love it. I can really feel it. I feel your passion coming through. You're like me when we get passionate. It's just like, yeah, like you can just feel it coming through. And no, I did not know that about your mom. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's why all of us as guides get into what we do, is because we've been through it. And we're like, let me help someone else so they don't have to experience what I experienced. So like, as one of my friends says, like, take the speedboat route rather than the rowboat route. And I'm like, it's so true. Right.
So true.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, we have all the answers within ourselves. And so what people do is just to help bring that clarity through. And sometimes, like, at least speaking for myself, it's like, I have a lot of clutter or baggage or, lenses of trauma or whatever else that is not helping me to be able to step back and see. And so when I have tuned in, I've been to a lot of intuitives and readers and psychics and healers. And like, they pretty much just validate a lot of things within me. And I'm like, okay. For me, it's helped me to learn to trust myself too, and have confidence in my own intuition. So when I ask a question to you, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. And it also helps me to, like, I don't ask outside of myself as much now, because I've had so much confidence building, trust, intuition. And, I still check in, like, cause I'm a human and I might get triggered by something. And then I'm a little blinded because I'm emotional about it. And so I'm like, hey, am I seeing this right? Like, is there another way? And so I love it too. And that's why we wanted to do this, is because it's been so impactful for me personally. And then you also get to experience Danny's work. And if you like her, then like she said, she has bigger packages. But okay, so you said that this is your number one seller. I know you have just a little, if someone wants to not have their question read, or they're like, oh, my question didn't get read, you have a little offer that we have up that people can just pay. It's like $33, I think. I'm totally throwing this on the spot. And they can have one question answered. So if they want a private response back, or they don't want to wait another month or whatever, so you have that. But then do you have a bigger package too?
I do. I have a full 60-minute session, just one-on-one, you and me. So for 60 minutes, as many questions, you can ask as many questions as you want during that time. So yeah, that's my bigger package. That's my number one seller. But yeah, we do have that mini offer, which is great. Love to take you up on that too.
Okay, cool. Just like to share in case, because you never know, like someone could be watching and be like, I don't want to give my personal business out there, even though it's free. So there are additional alternatives. Okay, so with that being said, that's today and every first Thursday in the Connected Soul Network Facebook group. You do have to submit a form to have your question answered. We're not going to be able to potentially get to everybody all the time. So if not, and then you're like, I want that, you can do an hour reading or just one question. Those are available. How would people find you? Are those listed anywhere or?
Yeah, I'll have a link for you, Jen, but okay. I'm in the process of building my website. So yeah.
All right. I will post the links in the caption for the readings, making a note. And then let's talk about.
You can always message me too, like here on Facebook, or reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to give you the information on that too, if you want to directly come to me.
Perfect. That works. Okay. So let's talk about this is going to be a high level astrological forecast of 2023, how it can support your personal growth and goals. Why is it high level? One, because there's a lot of information, and two, because we don't have enough time. And three, because Danny is actually going to be doing a specific event that is 75 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, that is, of how the astrological forecast can support your personal growth and goals, where you will be able to come get a little bit more in-depth information. This is a free event for members, $15 for non-members. And it is, you can either bring your goals with you, and she's going to do some hot seat coaching. Or if you're not sure, we can maybe, I don't know, do like a breakout brainstorming or something. Sure. We can do whatever we want. So
we can do whatever we want.
Fill into it and see what happens with who registers and who comes. And yeah, sometimes there's only a couple people, and so everybody gets a shot. And sometimes if there's more, a couple people get picked. Members always have priority, because they are paying members of the network. But that's not to say don't come because you're not a member. Really, we just want you to be a member because we love you and we want you to join us. But
very true. And I'm going to be talking about these things in more detail. I mean, it'll be really cool because if you do get picked, we're going to look at your specific chart for some of the things that I'm talking about. So it'll be really specific to support you. So.
Awesome. So if nobody comes to any events, let's talk a little bit about exactly how the astrology forecast of 2023 can support them in their personal growth and goals.
So you may have heard, right, about different things that happen in our skies. For example, a lot of people have heard about Mercury retrograde. So let me just talk really quick about Mercury retrograde, because every time Mercury goes retrograde, it appears to be going backwards in our sky. It is not, but it appears to be going backwards in our sky. And it actually stays a lot longer in a particular zodiac sign. So Mercury rules our communication, our thinking, our contracts, negotiations. And so because it's also a small neighborhoods and siblings. So because of that, there tends to be travel delays. There tends to be miscommunications that happen during the Mercury retrograde period. So just knowing Mercury retrograde, my friend, just knowing that alone, you'll know that when this opportunity is here for us, because it's an opportunity, right? When Mercury takes a vacation, I was actually thinking about this, Jen. Maybe I should do it. I was thinking about doing a reel of like me and Mercury, and like having a conversation with Mercury for when he goes retrograde.
You should totally do that. I've never seen it done. Do it.
I think it would be fun. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, how would I dress as Mercury? So I had that whole thought. But when Mercury does go retrograde, right, that's an opportunity for us to do all the re's, R-E. Reflect, realign, reset, return. It's a time for us to come inside and for us to evaluate. It's an opportunity for us to evaluate our communication, evaluate our thinking, evaluate like what's going on with us in those areas that Mercury rules. And so from a personal development standpoint, right, that's perfect to know, because it's like, okay, I've been chucking along here, and now Mercury goes retrograde. And now I have this opportunity to kind of fine tune some things before he goes direct again. Okay. So Mercury this year, so every year when he goes retrograde, he'll be retrograde in a particular element. And in this year, that element is fire. The element of fire in astrology is action. It's movement. It's like that ambition, motivation type energy. So this whole year, as a whole, if we like look at it from the bigger aspect, is going to be a time for us to step back and see what is motivating us, what is driving our actions. And if we want to peel back that even more, what are the habits? What are the habits that we have that are striving for those goals, right? For that motivation, for that desire. Because as you guys know, Jen, you probably know too, motivation is fleeting. It is not a constant. It comes and goes. If you're waiting to be motivated to do something, my friend, you'll be waiting forever, because motivation is like a it's like a leaf in the wind. What is it? A flower in the wind, or I can't wind. I don't know.
I know what you're trying to say, but I
can't.
Feather
in the wind. It's like a feather in the wind. It just goes. It doesn't. It's not solid. It's not stable. And so we want to look at the things that are behind that. And Mercury retrogrades this particular year can help us do that. So if we're looking to like, what is that motivation I have? What is that desire I have? How do I get into action? If you're somebody who is like an earth sign, this is going to push you outside of your comfort zone. So the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So if you're any of those three, you're going to feel this intensely because it's going to push you outside of your comfort zone, which is one of the reasons why this year, like, my intention is to use these Mercury retrogrades to push myself out of my comfort zone. So that's just one simple way that one of the particular changes that is happening in our sky this year, right? Another one is we have our two bigger planets, which they're called our outer planets, meaning that they are further away from us. So as they affect us, it's for a longer period of time. Now, these two particular planets went retrograde 2 years ago. I think you guys know when that was. It was a big year for us all. That year, these two planets changed signs and a whole lot of things happened. Well, these two planets are changing signs again.
Oh, so, dear baby. It's not going to be a repeat of 2020, and it's going to be something on a higher aspect of fun, and your face scares me.
Well, here's the thing. In order to have calm, we have to have what?
A storm?
Yes. We have to have chaos.
Yeah.
There has to be chaos in order for there to be calm, right? This is the law of polarity. We can't have one without the other. We have to, if we want change, there has to be stagnation, right? We have to have both in order to understand. We have to have day to understand night. We have to have night to understand day. And so we've had some chaos. I feel like personally, I feel like there's going to be some more. So I'll prepare all your hearts now. There's going to be some more, which is why I'm super excited that Jen has her community, because community is going to be super, super big in this coming year, because a lot of us have been riding solo for so long and we can't take it anymore. And we need community. We need other people. This is a lesson I'm learning and relearning and continuing to learn, is I feel like I'm a very strong person. I wanted to call my community members at one point the strong ones, because I feel like that's what I am. I'm a strong one. Like, I will hold everything. I will go through it. I will do it. I could do it on my own. I have that desire, but at the same hand, I understand the importance of getting help. I understand the importance of releasing control and allowing other people to help me, to be there for me, to support me. It's a struggle that I have. But this year, with these two planets in particular creating this change, 100% going to see that is what is needed. So Saturn and Jupiter are the two planets that I'm talking about. Saturn shows us our boundaries. It shows us our limitations. It actually is our very strong and stable type energy that is in there for the long haul. So these are things like big businesses, corporations, government, right? These are the things that have been in place for a long time, right? Well, that energy is moving into the sign of Aquarius. So in sidereal astrology, we'll be moving into Aquarius. Our tropical friends, they're saying Pisces. So just in case you hear that. So Aquarius is the sign of community. it is all about community. It is a lot of social justice issues. So I feel like there's going to be some more of that in these coming couple of years, because as Saturn and Jupiter both transit through a zodiac sign, it's about 2 to 2.5 years. So again, because of a retrograde period, it could be a little bit longer. But this is going to be you know, a critical eye on some of the things like our dreams, our hopes, our goals, our contributions to society, how we are serving society, our friendships, a big shift in our friendships this year, and community involvement, which is why I say, you know, Jen launching of her network, right, of the community is so huge, because people who have been maybe doing it solo are really going to need a place to come to. So that's Saturn. Now the other planet, which is the one I'm a little concerned about too, is Jupiter. And Jupiter is our planet of growth and expansion. It's higher knowledge. And so wherever we see Jupiter in our charts, or in just in general, this is an opportunity for us to have luck. It's a very optimistic planet. Now, this one in particular is moving into Aries. And Aries it's that warrior energy. It's that fighter energy. So this is the one, as I said, maybe is a little bit harder, because I feel like this is why we're going to have a little bit more of this chaos before we see the calm, because this Jupiter is going to just expand. So if you've had, you know, the arguments, the frustrations, all of that, the good thing is that we're coming out of Neptune, which is that Pisces energy, which has been a little bit of that deception type energy where things have been kind of exposed. Like that was Neptune, and kind of bringing things to an end. Aries is starting. It's the starter energy. So it's getting things off the ground. It's moving forward with things. And whenever we have change, right? Not everybody's going to be on board with change, no matter what the change is, whether you agree with the change or not. Not everybody's going to be on board with it. So there's people who are going to rebel. And so I feel like that is what's going to be, there's like that transition period before we can get to that calm. So it's going to be a good year. Like, don't take what I'm saying and be like, oh, great. You know, like, it's going to be a really good year. And I tell you this so that you're prepared, right? So you can prepare yourself, because how can you grow in your own autonomy? Because Aries is a very autonomous sign. So how can you grow in your own autonomy, right? Where you are the belief systems that you have, that you're solid in them, that you're not that flower in the wind or feather in the wind. There you go. Feather in the wind, that you are solid, right? In what you know and who you know and what you believe in, and that solid autonomy in your thoughts, right? You have control over your thoughts, and don't get wavered just by, you know, what you might see on social media or not. So I'm excited for the year. There's a lot of really good opportunity, because, you know, Jupiter is going to kick off that opportunity for us when it moves into Aries, and it won't move into Aries until May. So we do have a little bit more time in Pisces before we get there. But
that's good.
I think it's going to be
good. Yes, so I agree with you that having the membership of the Connected Soul Network is a great opportunity if you're looking to explore yourself further, to have support, to have community, to have things to attend, to dive in deeper, or to just feel supported. Like, we have a lot of cool, fun events too. It's not always, oh my gosh, like so deep and insightful. I mean, I just am preferably a deeper person, but there's a lot going on. So if any of this has kind of caught your eye and you're like, oh, I want to know more. And the other piece of it is that it also affects us each individually different because of our chart. So we are having an event Wednesday, January 11th from 5:30 p.m. to 6:45 p.m. It's Pacific Standard Time. And we'll be diving deeper into this, and we'll be doing, Danny will be doing some hot seat coaching and looking at like a goal you have and then your chart with it, and kind of giving you some insight as well. So you have to pull your chart ahead of time. It's very simple. She uses astro-seek.com. I'll put the link in the caption that you can go up there. And she uses sidereal astrology. So we don't have a lot of time left, but basically sidereal astrology is different than tropical. So majority of the Western people use tropical. So if you hear things that are different, that is why. And she can give a blurb at the event of just the difference between the two, or you can look at one of the past videos where we have really talked about it. There's so many upcoming events. So let's just roll through these real quick of how Danny's contributing to the network in so many amazing ways.
How you can hang out with me. How about that? I like that better. How you can hang out with me this month.
I love that. And it truly is. Like some events, you know, we're listening or interacting in a way, but like it's like we're hanging out in our little community together. So we already talked about today, Cosmic Insights every first Thursday. And then coming up on Tuesday the 10th, we're doing a co-working session, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. I'm Pacific Standard Time, and majority of the people are. That's why we're using Pacific Standard Time. It's just a lot to write all the time zones. So please Google it and find out what time that is for you. We already talked about the 11th. We're going to be diving deeper into the astrological forecast of 2023 with some hot seat coaching. And then we have on the 19th, another co-working session. And so this is for explorers and guides. If you have anything, it's like, I love how Phoebe put it. She kicked us off with the co-working sessions is bring the thing that you want to do the least, but you need to do the most. And I love that. So it's about, that'll be a 2-hour session. That'll be super awesome to get some stuff done. It's really fun. And then we get back into the astrology. So this one will be astrology for marketing your business. This actually came from a conversation with another guide in the network, and Danny, they had got a bonus, and Danny did a reading and found out actually that they should be marketing their business through podcasts, through being guests on podcasts, not necessarily social media posts. I mean, yes, you could do that too, but like the most effect based off of their chart would be through podcasts. So we're like, this would be so cool. You'll have hot seat coaching for that as well. And then on the 26th, same week, but Thursday, beginning meditation 101. So I've had a lot of requests for people wanting to learn to meditate. And Danny, I believe you have a certification in that, and you have a whole course on it as well. So if someone wants to dive deeper, can contact her about that course, or she'll share it at the end of this event as well. But you can come and learn how to meditate, and we'll meditate together and have some practice. And then we're going to roll into March. This is going to be how can your business be more in alignment, also based off of astrology. March 9th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then in April, how to attract your soul clients in your business with astrology, like looking at your chart. So those will all be hot seat coaching. We'll do more lives that will explain a little bit more about them, but we just wanted people to know what the offerings are. And these are just events with Danny only. This isn't even the other guides. We're getting up to like almost an event a day, which is crazy and awesome at the same time. Because my vision is just giving people a variety of things to go check out. Like, go check this out. Like, go check out this meditation. There are so many ways to do yoga. There are so many ways to meditate. People give different types of readings. Even if you go to astrology, everybody does it different. So what's important and what I want to bring is that you have a variety so you can see what feels good and what interests and what calls to you. Because that's kind of just how my whole journey started. Was I had a bucket list, and I just started doing things that interested me and that I had always wanted to do. And I was following these little seeds of like, oh, this sounds cool, let me go. And then I would meet a person or get a reading or something would happen. And it all, like, all these small steps changed my life and brought me to where I am today, and still am. Like, I still have a lot of growth and goals that I want to do. My word for 2023 is expansion. So when you were talking about the Mercury retrograde and all of it, and you had mentioned expanding, I was like, oh, no wonder why I was called to do that word. And every aspect
we should look at Jupiter for you this year and see where it's transiting.
Okay, we can do a live on it and share, and people can kind of see how that is. I'm always happy to share my life. And I learn through stories, so I also share through stories so that people can have an example. And yeah, that would be really fun to see, because I'm expanding in all areas of life. Like the goals I wrote down this last week over the new year, I was just like romantic relationships, living situation, finances. Yeah, when you were talking about one of them, and it made me think of the romantic relationships because that's my emotional expansion, and I'm a Virgo moon. So I was like, oh, that would be, yeah, that would be why. It actually came up on the other day with another guide I was talking to, and they're like, I'm getting some right knee pain. What is this? And I was like, yeah, that's mine. Like, what does it mean? And they're like, I think it's about moving forward, like, because the legs or the knees are below, like, is usually an action of moving forward in the sense of emotional vulnerability. And I was like, well, that's perfect because I know that that's what I need to work on. So, yeah, this is why I like hanging out with y'all because it's just like constant validation and like insights, you know.
We're gonna have before before Saturn goes into Aquarius, we're gonna have Venus and Saturn like together. They're gonna be conjunct. It's gonna be if there's like, I feel like I like to say like it's the put a ring on it energy. So it's like, or for those of you that may be dating, it's like the find your person, or it's that type of energy.
That's what I wrote down for this year, that I'm open to attracting. I mean, I don't know that it's the top of my list, but I'm open. I'm opening the door to it because it's been very close because my business has been my baby. And it still is, and it's still growing. But yeah, I'm ready to start sharing and opening up. So it'll be interesting and fun.
I love it. There's a lot of people they're going to have to go through to make sure, that they're okay for you. But I'm looking forward to that.
I'm like, I'm going to need your birthday, time, and location so that I can give you my personal astrologer, Danny, just to make sure. And then also, all my intuitive friends. I'm like,
exactly.
You're going to have to find out. Is there anything you want to share before we wrap up?
No, thank you. Thank you. Come have fun with us. Come explore. We're excited to get to know you and support you this year.
Yes. All right. Thank you for being here and sharing all your wisdom and insights and supporting the Connected Soul Network and memberships and other guides and all of your awesomeness. And me, I appreciate it the most. Like, I literally cannot say it so much. Having somebody, and this is what I'm doing for guides also on the back end of the technological piece, is really huge because a lot of people that scares them and they have blocks. They just want to show up and teach. And so that's why I'm doing these events with these people or these guides so that they can have their zone of genius, and my zone of genius is just getting the word out there, supporting them, helping them to learn and grow. And then, Danny does that for me at my connection events, my networking connection events. And I couldn't do it without her. And she mans the breakout rooms, or she womans the breakout rooms. Just, I'm like, let's call it what it is. She womans the breakout rooms so that I don't have to worry about it. And I can show up and be in my zone of genius. And that's just like this beautiful synchronistic, synergistic energy that we have in there. So we would love for you to join us. And if you are interested in working with Danny, she has a ton of offers that we haven't even got to. So like, you can message her and see if she can help you with anything. Probably the answer is yes. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. Have an amazing day, and we will see you soon.